Hello, welcome to BioGrades TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. How political parties started in Ivory Coast. Present-day Ivory Coast became a French colony in 1893. Captain Binga was named the first governor of the colony. He negotiated boundary treaties with Liberia and the United Kingdom for the Gold Coast, and later commenced a military campaign against Samori Ture, a Malinké chief who fought against the French until 1898. Samori had founded the Wassoulou Empire, which stretched to parts of present-day Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast. His army was large, well-trained, and well-equipped. They could even manufacture and repair their own firearms, so it was no surprise that he proved a hard nut for the French to crack. It wasn't until 1898 that Samori Ture was captured and his empire disbanded. The French continued to rule Ivory Coast, and right up to 1958, governors were appointed in Paris to administer the colony. They adopted a system of direct, centralized administration that left little room for local Ivorian participation in policy making. They also made use of divide and rule policies, applying ideas of assimilation only to the few educated elites. The French were also eager to ensure that the small but influential elites were sufficiently satisfied with the situation so that they would not engage in any anti-French sentiments. These educated Ivorians believed that they would achieve equality with their French peers through assimilation, rather than through complete independence from France, as independence would eliminate the enormous economic advantages of remaining a French possession. But after the French implemented the doctrine of assimilation, at least in principle, through the post-war reforms, it dawned on Ivorian leaders that even assimilation implied the superiority of the French over the Ivorians, and that discrimination and inequality would not end until they achieved independence. On the 7th of August 1958, a referendum brought community status to all colonies in the Federation of French West Africa, except Guinea. So in December 1958, Ivory Coast became an autonomous republic within the French community. 2 years later, on the 7th of August 1960, it became fully independent. Félix Houphouët-Boigny, who was one of the founders in 1947 of the Interterritorial Party, African Democratic Rally (RDA), which was a coalition of anti-colonial political parties across French West Africa and the largest political party in colonial Africa, became the first president of Ivory Coast. Félix Houphouët-Boigny had also founded and led the Democratic Party of Ivory Coast (PDCI) in 1946 as an outgrowth of a union to help African farmers, the African Agricultural Union. However, PDCI only became recognized as a legal political party in 1960 after independence. Ivory Coast remained a one-party state for about 30 years with Houphouët-Boigny as president. The first multi-party presidential elections were held in October 1990. History professor Laurent Gbagbo ran against Houphouët-Boigny on the platform of the Ivorian Popular Front (FPI), which he had founded while in exile in 1982. Houphouët-Boigny won convincingly with over 80% of the votes, while Gbagbo got only 18.32% of the votes. Houphouët died on the 7th of December 1993 and was succeeded by his deputy, Henry Konan Bédié. 6 years later, Bédié was overthrown by General Robert Gay. Following his promise to return the country to democracy, Gay allowed elections to hold the following year in the year 2000. 3 political parties contested, while 2 candidates ran as independents. The parties were the Ivorian Popular Front (FPI), with Laurent Gbagbo as their flag bearer, the Ivorian Workers' Party (PIT), founded in 1990, and Francis Wodier as their candidate, and the Union of Democrats of Ivory Coast, with Theodore Mel as flag bearer. The two independents were Robert Gay, who toppled Bédié, and Nicolas Diolo. When Gbagbo was declared winner, Gay at first refused to accept defeat, but later succumbed to pressure from the masses and stepped down. Gbagbo became president on the 26th of October 2000. Gbagbo's regime was a turbulent one that experienced two civil wars, the first starting just 2 years into his presidency. Though most of the fighting ended in 2004, elections did not hold until 2010, which was 5 years after Gbagbo's tenure should have ended. There were two main challengers of Gbagbo in the 2010 elections: Alassane Ouattara of the Rally of the Republicans (RDR), which he founded in 1994 as an offshoot of the then-ruling party PDCI, and former President Henry Konan Bédié of PDCI. Ouattara was declared winner by the country's Electoral Commission, but the President of the Constitutional Council, who was said to be an ally of Gbagbo, declared the result invalid. An inauguration was done for Gbagbo as president, while an alternate one was done for Ouattara. These events sparked up the Second Civil War. A year later, on the 11th of April 2011, Ouattara's forces arrested Gbagbo at his residence, marking the end of the war. Alassane Ouattara's bid for a second 5-year term in 2015 was a resounding success. He got almost 84% of the votes. His closest rival was Pascal Affi N'Guessan of the Ivorian Popular Front (FPI), who got just 9%. There are more than 100 legal political parties in Ivory Coast, but only a few have significant national support. What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.